Welcome, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today for this explainer. We're setting a really calm, supportive seminar-style tone here as we unpack Chapter 8 of Ekpakiti and Constant Leung's phenomenal book, Assessment for Language Teaching. Honestly, this chapter, titled Further Developments, is a total goldmine. And to help break down these concepts, I'm joined by two fantastic co-explorers today. We've got Speaker 2, a postgraduate TESOL student who's currently deep into developing her own assessment literacy.
Hey everyone, I'm so excited to be here and really dig into the theory side of things with you all.
And we also have Speaker 3, an early career language teacher who is all about figuring out how to actually apply these principles in the classroom.
Hey there. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how all this high-level theory actually helps me out on a Monday morning.
Exactly. Today is all about bridging that gap between deep assessment theories and the everyday realities we face in our classrooms. All right, so here's our roadmap for the session. We'll hit 3 big takeaways right up front, then dive into alignments and formative feedback, look at some solid guidelines for improving your practice, and then tackle the whole frontier of research and AI. Finally, we'll wrap up with professional development and some critical final reflections. Okay, moving right into Section 1, the 3 big takeaways. These are basically the foundational ideas that are going to anchor our entire conversation today. These core messages are super straightforward, but absolutely vital. First, teaching, learning, and assessment absolutely have to align. They just can't exist in silos. Second, the way we actually configure and deliver feedback is critical for student success. And third, as we navigate all these crazy technological advancements, we've got to apply rigorous ethical scrutiny. Speaker 3, I know you are really eager to ground these high-level theories into what you're actually doing with your students. And that takes us right into Section 2, alignments and formative feedback, basically where theory meets practice. I'll hand the floor over to you, Speaker 3, to set up a real-world scenario. Thanks. So, yeah, as an early career teacher, this is literally my biggest struggle right now. I'll assign this complex writing task to my language learners, and suddenly I'm just drowning in grading. I'm trying to give formative feedback that actually improves their writing, but honestly, half the time I'm wondering if my assessment even matches what I taught them in the first place. It can just feel completely overwhelming. It's such a valid struggle, and you're definitely not alone there. To solve this, let's look at Table 4 from the chapter. Notice how it connects 3 key elements: curriculum specifications, teaching activities, and assessment methods. Think of it like this. If your learning outcome is to analyze main ideas, your teaching activity might be a group text discussion. Therefore, your assessment method has to directly measure that specific analysis, like an essay graded with a tailored scoring rubric. It creates this seamless, perfectly aligned triangle of learning. And once you've got that alignment down, the feedback itself needs structure. The authors actually draw on Ducker and Holmberg to outline 5 critical considerations for formative feedback. Let's walk through them. Number 1 is types, so is it performance, corrective, or metacognitive feedback? Number 2 is configuration. Are you addressing the whole class, a small group, or just an individual? Number 3 is explicitness. How direct are you being? Number 4 is time. Is this immediate or delayed? And finally, number 5 is agency. Is it totally teacher-driven, or are you utilizing self and peer assessment? You know, that third step, explicitness, makes so much sense when I think about recasts in my classroom. It's such a great form of implicit feedback. Like, if a student says to me, I did not have breakfast, instead of jumping in with a harsh, explicit correction, I just reply conversationally, oh, you didn't have breakfast. Why? I'm modeling the correct form, keeping their affective filter super low, and just quietly guiding their language acquisition. It's basically formative feedback without the dreaded red pen. Spot on. It's all about being intentional. Let's see how this builds into some broader strategies in Section 3, where the chapter consolidates 7 guidelines for improving classroom assessment practices. Speaker 2, I know a few of these guidelines really resonated with your current research. Oh, absolutely. As a postgraduate student, the contrast between the first and second guidelines really stood out to me. We urgently need to shift away from that traditional standardized focus, which, let's be honest, is often totally obsessed with just scores and gatekeeping, and move toward a social, cultural focus. This means we actually start valuing context-specific learning, the real quality of a student's development, and yes, even the enjoyment of learning. Assessment shouldn't just be a hurdle or a punishment. It really needs to act as a supportive scaffold. And this ties directly into transparency. There's a great point Ekpakiti and Constant Leung make in the text. They say, Without knowing scoring rubrics, students cannot set goals to address the assessment task and self-assess their performance. This is absolutely vital for empowering student agency. If we want them to take ownership, we can't keep the rules of the game a secret. We've got to share those rubrics up front.
I couldn't agree more. As a teacher on the ground, explicitly sharing the rubric before the task changes the whole dynamic. It literally turns students from passive test takers into active participants.
Beautifully said, both of you. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and jump right into Section 4, Research, Fairness, and AI in Assessment. Because as educators, we are constantly navigating a landscape that's evolving at lightning speed. Visualizing the map from Figure 16 in the text, we can clearly see the 6 critical areas that require ongoing research. We've got proficiency frameworks, multilingual proficiency, social dimensions, integrated language skills, applications of computer technology, and overarching all of it, fairness and ethical assessment. Let's zero in on 2 of these that are radically reshaping our field right now: multilingualism and technology. This is actually a massive area of focus in my studies right now. Here's a critical reflection hook for everyone listening. Is it fair to assess multilingual students using monolingual proficiency models? The text really challenges the traditional paradigms that completely dominate current testing. So much of our assessment is based on these idealized monolingual native speaker norms. But our students are multilinguals. They use all their language resources, a process called translanguaging, to make meaning. When we penalize them for drawing on their full linguistic repertoire, our assessments simply stop being fair or accurate. And then, of course, we have the ethical elephant in the room, generative AI. The text highlights a massive tension here. AI tools make it incredibly easy for students to just bypass the actual learning process altogether, which threatens the very integrity of the writing construct through plagiarism. We have to ensure our assessments actually measure a student's ability, not a machine's.
Right. But on the flip side, if we look at the practical reality of automated scoring technology, or AST, it can be an absolute lifesaver. AST can offer quick numerical and grammatical feedback, which drastically reduces my teacher workload and gets that feedback to students way faster. Teaching students to use AI ethically while utilizing AST to actually support our teaching is a very, very delicate balancing act.
It certainly is, and navigating that balance is exactly why continuous learning is so incredibly vital. Which brings us right into Section 5. Developing your assessment literacy is an ongoing professional journey. Literally, no one expects you to have all the answers regarding AI or translanguaging figured out today. To help you keep expanding your expertise, the authors provide a really curated toolkit of essential readings. I highly recommend taking the time to check out Fulcher and Harding's work on language testing, Shawami and colleagues' critical perspectives on assessment in society, and the UK LTA briefing sheets. Those briefing sheets are absolutely fantastic for keeping up to date on AI policies and flexible multilingualism. Well, we have covered some incredible ground today. Let's move into Section 6 and summarize the core messages of this seminar so you can take them right back to your classrooms, your research, and your policy discussions. Revisiting those 3 big takeaways we started with. First, ensure your teaching, learning outcomes, and assessments are tightly aligned. Second, really optimize that formative feedback by considering its type, its explicitness, and its timing. And third, engage with technology and AI ethically, always keeping fairness and the student's actual linguistic repertoire right at the center of your practice. I want to leave you with this really provocative closing thought cited in the chapter from Bernard Spolsky. Tests, like guns, are potentially so powerful as to be commonly misused. It's a pretty stark reminder of the immense ethical responsibility we carry as language assessors. Every single test we write, every rubric we design, and every piece of feedback we give has the power to either gatekeep or empower. Let's choose to use our assessment literacy to empower. A massive thank you to Speaker 2 and Speaker 3 for joining me, and thank you all for learning with us today. Keep asking great questions, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.